Is called to order. Would our clerk please call the roll?
Representative Banta.
Present.
Representative Blanton. Here. Representative Bratcher.
Here.
Representative Bray. Representative Burke.
Here.
Representative Dietz.
Here.
Representative Doan.
Present.
Representative Flannery. Representative Herron.
Here.
Representative Kulkarni.
Present.
Representative Lewis.
Here.
Representative Maddox.
Here.
Representative Mosier. Representative Nemus.
Here.
Representative Petrie. Representative Rawlings.
Here.
Representative Sharp.
Present.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Wilson. Vice Chair Decker.
Present.
Chair Elliott.
I'm here. This is obviously our first meeting of the 2024 regular session. We do have committee rules, which will be emailed out to the membership through the same rules that we worked under in the 2023 session. So obviously we need to have our phones silenced, and you need to speak into the microphone so that everything can be recorded in these meetings. Today we have 3 bills for consideration on our agenda, and the first bill that we will hear is House Bill 178, an act relating to wrongful conviction compensation, and the sponsor of that is Representative Nemus, and he's already at the table with his guests. And if you would introduce yourselves and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason Nemus, State Representative, 33rd District.
Suzanne Hopp, Kentucky Innocence Project.
Jonetta Carr, exoneree and advocate for the wrongly convicted.
Mike Von Allman. Mike Von Allman, exoneree.
Edwin Chandler, exoneree.
Steve Mershon, retired circuit court judge from Jefferson County.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've had this bill.
Could the judge get a little closer?
Yep.
I think I heard you, but we weren't able to pick that up.
I'm sorry, I'm Steve Mershon. I'm a retired circuit court judge from Jefferson County.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've had this bill before. I'm going to be less so they can be more.
Yeah.
But I do want to set the stage and say this. There but for the grace of God go I. Actual innocence. These people have to prove under this bill actual innocence to get any recovery. And let me say this. What's at stake? What if you were convicted wrongfully and served 15 years? Representative Burke, Ewan wouldn't have been born. Representative Dietz, you wouldn't have been able to see Alex grow to be the man that he is today. Pappy Blanton, you wouldn't see your grandchild, Olivia. Bratcher, I don't know. You and I wouldn't have developed such a good relationship, and Maria may be in a better spot, Kevin. I don't know. The point is, a lot has been taken. There but for the grace of God go I.
Thank you for the opportunity to address this committee on this very important issue for our Kentuckians. What I want to express is this idea that everybody, I think, in this room would agree that anytime somebody is wrongfully convicted, that it's a tragedy. And when that person is exonerated, it's time to celebrate. But so many people don't understand that this is just the second stage of a tremendously difficult time for Kentuckian exonerees, that they face complex problems reentering society, that they may face hurdles with employment and with education as well as housing. And I challenge each one of you to think about what it was like in your 20s and 30s and 40s as you started to get a toehold in life, or watching your children get that toehold in life, that you build things, and you build things very slowly. Some of our exonerees have been in prison for 20, 25, or 30 years. Some of them are released when they're 60 years old. They have health problems, and then the family members that knew them before they went in, the people that would be able to take care of them and be able to assist them, they're no longer in a position that they can help them. They may have aging parents that need help. They may have seen their parents pass away while they were in prison. Aunts and uncles that knew them, they're also in the same situation. So our exonerees face a tremendous amount of problems when they reenter society, and this kind of a bill would allow them to get that toehold back. It wouldn't completely make up for all the years that they've lost, but it would at least put them in a situation where they can provide for transportation for themselves, they can get education, and they can also provide housing. We've seen exonerees that simply couldn't even afford to put a roof over their heads when they left prison, when they'd been incarcerated for many, many years. So I think it's more important for you not just to think in terms of the big picture, but to hear from each one of our exonerees. So I'd like to pass the mic over to Janetta Carr.
Good morning. My name is Janetta Carr. I was wrongfully convicted in 2008. I spent 4 years in jails and prisons and served out 8.5 years on parole for a crime that I did not commit or have anything to do with. Being wrongfully convicted is something that will affect my life for the rest of my life, and every day I have to still deal with the scars of my wrongful conviction. You might look at me now and think, oh, she looks healthy, whole, and happy, and I am happy. I'm happy to be here. I can remember coming here when I was in the 5th grade. We would take field trips down here often, and now that I have a 7-year-old son, once my case started to become public in the media, I had to have a conversation with my 7-year-old son and explain wrongful convictions to him. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, they shouldn't lock people up for stuff they didn't do. He's 7 years old, and as young as he is, even he can understand the impact of that. I explained to him that the justice system is not perfect, son, because it was made by humans, and as humans, we all make mistakes. But today we have a chance to right the wrongs of history and start a new thing in Kentucky to compensate people that's been wrongfully convicted. No amount of money will make up for the 214 years collectively exonerees in Kentucky spent innocently behind bars. But I do believe that it is a step in the right direction, and I support this legislation. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity to bring up my story to you. My wrongful conviction is best explained with these 3 pictures. This fella here is a rapist. This picture here is a composite drawing of a rapist. This picture here is me looking like a rapist. Just that chance cost me 11 years in prison, 16 years on parole before I finally met up with the Kentucky Innocence Project and they were able to put this case together. I want you to take a look again at this picture here of me. I want you to notice the color of my hair in this picture and how dark it is. Look at the color of my hair today. This wrongful conviction lasts a lifetime. I was young and healthy enough when I got out that I was able to establish a career, have a family, and have what seems to be a normal life. But never once has wrongful conviction been absent as the center point of my life. My case happened over 40 years ago, and here still today, I am here as it the central theme of my quest for some semblance of justice. Thank you, and I will yield.
Good morning. My name is Edwin Chandler, and I have suffered from a wrongful conviction as well. I served 9 years in prison and another 8 years on parole behind the wrongful conviction. I'm not going to be long today. I just want to be here to say that I truly support this bill because it means a lot, not just to me, but to the other exonerees that have faced the same thing that I've went through. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, my name is Steve Mershon. I retired in 2008 as the Chief Judge of the Jefferson Circuit Court, and I'm here basically just to say ditto. I have talked to judges and attorneys all across the Commonwealth, and overwhelmingly they agree that this legislation is needed. I think Suzanne says it's passed in like 38 states, so Kentucky's a little bit late to this program, but it's just the right thing to do, and I thank you all for listening to us this morning.
So there's a motion. Is there a second on the committee sub? There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no, and the committee sub is adopted. There's a motion by Representative Blanton on passage. There's a second by the vice chair. And we will have some time for discussion. I want to say that I support this too. I'm a co-sponsor on it, so I agree with you. And I know, Mr. Von Allman, you had attempted to come and meet with me. And I'm sorry we weren't able to meet, but I figured this is probably a good alternative to hear the bill that you were supporting on the first meeting. So that probably worked out pretty well. Is there any discussion? Representative Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to express my outstanding support for this. This is an important bill. It's about time that we get around to taking care of the people that we have wrongfully convicted. Thank you for coming to share your testimony and your story with us. We can never repay you for what we've done. So I also want to ask Jason, Representative Nemes, we had spoken about this earlier. I'm hoping that you would be open to a friendly floor amendment where the AOC would gather information about the people who are successful in these cases and report that back to the Legislative Oversight Committee.
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
So if there's no other discussion, would our clerk please call the roll?
Representative Banta,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Bratcher,
Yes.
Representative Bray, Representative Burke,
Yes.
Representative Dietz,
Yes.
Representative Down,
Yes.
Representative Flannery, Representative Herron,
Yes.
Representative Kulkarni,
Yes.
Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Mosier,
Yes.
Representative Nemes,
Yes.
Representative Petrie, Representative Rawlings,
Yes.
Representative Sharp,
Aye.
Representative Stevenson, Representative Wilson, Vice Chair Decker,
Yes.
Chair Elliott.
Aye.
16.
So with 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, HB 178 is amended by the committee substitute. It's passed and will be reported to the floor with favorable expression.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the next bill that we will take up is HB 87, sponsored by Representative Blanton. And it's an act related to adoption records. And the floor is yours, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for allowing me to come present this bill to you today. We do have a committee sub, and
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. And the committee sub is before us.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the committee sub, all it does is changes a shall to a may for the courts. This deals with adoption records, and what this bill will do will allow a sibling of someone who was adopted early in life and the adoption papers were sealed. This allows a child of that individual who may now be deceased, along with the parents who gave the child up for adoption are deceased. It allows a surviving child to file paperwork or petitions with the court to have those records unsealed so that they can find out the background of their family and so forth, both for genealogical purposes, but more importantly for health history purposes as well. And it also allows, if there is no children, that a sibling to this individual who was adopted may file for the same opening of these records or unsealing of these records. That's all this does.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, would our clerk please call the roll?
Representative Banta,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
I think I will have to say aye.
Representative Bratcher,
Yes.
Representative Bray, Representative Burke,
Aye.
Representative Dietz,
Yes.
Representative Down, Representative Flannery? Yes. Representative Herron?
Yes.
Representative Kulkarni?
Yes.
Representative Lewis?
Yes.
Representative Maddox?
Yes.
Representative Mosier?
Yes.
Representative Nemus?
Yes.
Representative Petrie? Representative Rawlings?
Yes.
Representative Sharp?
Aye.
Representative Stevenson? Representative Wilson? Vice Chair Decker?
Yes.
Chair Elliott?
Briefly explain my vote. I know we've had a discussion about the situation where two parents who gave up a child for adoption may be involved, and I think the way this is written, as it's been pointed out to us by a member of this committee, that situation might not be contemplated here, so we'll work to fix that, but I vote aye, and thank you for the bill. So with 16 yes votes and 0 no votes, the House Bill 87 with a committee substitute is passed, and the same should be reported with favorable expression. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
so,
Chairman and member of the committee.
thank you, sir. So our last bill on the agenda is House Bill 155, Representative Stephanie Dietz, an act relating to the disposition of property and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, motion on the committee sub.
There's a motion on the committee sub. There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. And the committee sub is adopted, and the committee sub is before us. So the floor is yours. Representative Dietz, I see you have a guest, so she would introduce herself for the record.
Yes, I'm Stephanie Dietz, State Representative from the 65th District. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And then Debbie, go ahead and represent me.
Just my name.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Debbie Wright.
I think you turned it off.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay, my name is Debbie Wright.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, today with the committee substitute, I'm asking that we amend our statute regarding marital property and non-marital property. As an attorney that's practiced in family law for nearly 30 years, one of the most difficult things that I have to do is look at a client and describe to them what is marital property and what is non-marital property. So briefly, marital property is anything you have from the time you're married until the time you are divorced, except if you had it prior to the marriage, you got it as a gift during the marriage, or it was an inheritance. Now that sounds real easy, but a lot of times you have tracing issues for non-marital property, and there are some things left to the discretion of the judges. So sometimes it's not that simple, and it can be costly for the litigants. What House Bill 155 with the sub does is amends 403-190, and the first thing it'll do when the court's dividing marital assets, the statute says that the court shall divide marital property without regard to marital misconduct, in just proportions considering all relevant factors that were listed. We are adding subsection E that will allow the court to consider the criminal misconduct against a spouse that the spouse committed within the last 5 years of marriage prior to the filing of a petition for dissolution of marriage that results in a violent felony offense as defined in KRS 532-200. In a minute, you're going to hear from Ms. Wright as to why this is a necessary change. Second, we are adding 3C as an exclusion of marital property. This specifically protects the victim by not allowing a spouse who's convicted of a crime as described in 1E of this section that occurred in the last 5 years of marriage prior to the filing of the petition for dissolution of marriage to claim retirement benefits as marital property. And last, we are adding Section 5, which excludes any claim to an insurance policy, again for the same reasons, within 5 years, the act occurring within the last 5 years of the marriage. This committee sub will protect victims of violent crimes and thus victims of domestic violence, and it falls under the violent felony offenses. It allows these victims to have assets and allows them to move forward with their life and lets them feel financially secure where they may not stay in a relationship where otherwise they would. So I also have supporters here from Zero V. They are supportive of this legislation, and I'm going to briefly turn this over to Ms. Wright, who will talk about an incident that occurred in August of 2022, and also know that she has been in a marriage of nearly 40 years.
On July 28th of 22, just out of the blue, no warning, my husband ran me over with a van in the driveway. And I'm going to cut it as short as I can. And then he went, my head hit the gravel driveway. He ran over my foot. Wasn't sure if it was broke or whatever. And I asked him to call 911. He took my purse and my phone from me and put it in the building that we have and came back out with a pillow because I asked for a pillow. And he said to me, they have been called. They're on the way, indicating he called 911, which he did not. And then he said he was going to pull the van away from me. So he pulled the van back up toward the building. And all I can say is God was on my side that day. I happened to look up, and the van was rolling towards me again. And I didn't know if my foot was broke. I didn't know if I could get up. And so all I could think to do was roll. So I started rolling sideways as hard and fast as I could. And the van rear tire hit my back and scraped down my back. And then I knew this wasn't an accident. So he pulled the van forward again, and I knew I had to get up, so I did. I got up and went behind a dumpster that we have and stood there and watched him back it up a third time and try to hit me again. And so he pulled the van back up, and as I was standing there, of course, I was calling him every name in the book and all that, and I asked him, I said, "What's wrong with you? What are you trying to do, kill me?" And his response was, yes, I am. So I walked past him, I grabbed my phone, I went in the bathroom of the building. We have a restroom in there. I went in there, locked the door, called 911, and he wanted it to look like an accident because there was a gun in a room in that building that he could have very easily picked up and shot me through the door. But he wanted it to look like an accident so he would get all my benefits. I'm a retired state employee. I worked for the circuit court clerk in Jefferson County for 28 years, and I draw a pension. And so he was counting on if I was gone, he would draw my pension, he would get all the life insurance, he would get everything. And so anyway, the sheriffs, they came and they took me to the hospital, which I ended up at 2 hospitals that night, and took him to jail, charged him with attempted murder and assault second. He's facing 30 years, and he's 72 years old. And right now he's out on bond. He's wearing an ankle monitor, and his trial date is not until January 27th of 2025. And that's in Trimble County. So I have to live with trying to hope he doesn't break his restraining order. I filed for divorce 4 days after it happened because it happened, I think, the end of a week. And that Monday or Tuesday, I ended up at Jim Tice's office, filed for divorce, filed for the domestic violence order, and haven't seen or spoke to him since. And don't ever want to. But it's really not right that I should lose half of my pension to somebody who tried to kill me, and then have to live on, the pension, it's good enough for me, but half of it, it would put me at a real low level. So,
move passage, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for passage on House Bill 155 as amended by the substitute. Is there any discussion? Thank you for your testimony, and I'm horribly sorry that happened to you. Representative Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question. I'm curious why you cut off the liability for the bad actor at the time when the divorce is filed. Because if I file for divorce and then I'm almost murdered, I don't want to share my retirement with them either.
If I understand your question, so what we looked at, and there were some questions, if you're married like this, long-term marriage, we wanted to make sure that the felony offense took place. We know it took place before the filing of the petition. We also recognize that domestic violence victims, it takes them a long time sometimes to leave. And so we just wanted to make sure the felony offense occurred prior to the filing of the petition.
I guess I'm just not clear on why the person who decides to act violently right after I file for divorce is in the clear. It almost seems like it incentivizes you to wait to be a violent offender until after you find out you're getting divorced, which may happen a lot in domestic violence relationships. So is there a way that this can be amended so that violent acts after the petition has been filed would also disqualify someone from receiving?
I'm open to having that discussion with you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Questions or comments? This may be the shortest Judiciary Committee meeting in history, 28 minutes. So would the clerk please call the roll?
Representative Banta?
Yes.
Representative Blanton?
Aye.
Representative Bratcher?
Yes, and I want to thank the young lady up there that gave her testimony. That was that sure helped me vote yes on this.
Representative Bray?
Yes.
Representative Burke?
Yes, and I'd like to explain my vote.
Yes, you may.
I'm very much in support of this, and I hope we can make it even stronger by not allowing victims who are victimized after the filing of the petition to come out differently as the other victims. Thank you.
Representative Dietz?
Yes.
Representative Doan?
Yes.
Representative Flannery?
Yes.
Representative Herron?
Yes.
Representative Colcarney?
Yes.
Representative Lewis?
Yes.
Representative Maddox?
Pass.
Representative Mosier?
Yes, explain my vote.
Yes, you may.
I am a yes, and I would agree with Representative Burke that this can be strengthened by protecting anyone who is put in this position. And thank you very much for coming to testify today on this very common sense piece of legislation. Thank you.
Representative Nemes?
Briefly explain, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I'm a definite yes. Thank you for bringing this bill. Thank you for your testimony. I would note that under Kentucky law, attempted murder is not a violent crime. That's a problem, but the Kentucky Safer Act will fix this session. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Okay. Well,
Representative Petrie? Representative Rawlings?
Yes.
Representative Sharp?
Aye.
Representative Stevenson? Representative Wilson? Vice Chair Decker?
Yes.
Chair Elliott?
aye. With 17 yes votes, no votes, and one pass vote, House Bill 155 is amended by the committee substitute is passed and will be reported with favorable expression that the same should pass. Yes, and there are members who probably need to record votes, so we would entertain that at this point if anybody. Representative Flannery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to be recorded as a yes vote on House Bill 178.
Thank you. That's recorded. Representative Doan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to be recorded as a yes vote on House Bill 87.
That's recorded. Thank you, Representative Moser.
Mr. Chair, I would just like to be recorded as present. I walked in a couple minutes late. Thank you.
That's so recorded. We do have an announcement. There will be a special meeting of the House Judiciary Committee tomorrow, Thursday, January the 18th, upon adjournment in room 149 with the agenda to follow. So if there's no further business to come before the committee, then we will stand adjourned.